You are listening to Radio Maria Canada. We now present the Health Hub, hosted by Kathy Biasi.
Welcome to the Health Hub. I'm Kathy Biasi, your host, and along with our producer, Alex Diaz, and everyone here at Radio Maria Canada, thank you so much for joining us. Today's show has been recorded, so no opportunity for calling in. Please do keep up to date with our guest information, future shows, and other little tidbits that we like to throw on our social media sites by following us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We are at the Health Hub RMC on all locations, and do feel free to email us at thh@radiomaria.ca. Please subscribe to our podcast. We are the Health Hub on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, all of your favorite podcast platforms. And you can find our podcasts individually on the Radio Maria Canada website, which is radiomaria.ca, and on my website, which is kathybiasi.com. On to today's show. Mobility is an area of health, of exercise, of fitness that I am becoming more and more interested in. I think as things start to hurt a little bit more, as injuries crop up, I've been looking for answers in different spaces. And to that end, Bobby Aldridge has come along my way, and I wanted to introduce him to you because what he does and how he does it is essential for us to keep moving as we move on to the twilight years of our life here. Bobby Aldridge has spent over 3 decades as an athlete, student, and educator of physical movement, searching for peak performance. Now, in the best shape of his life, his mission is to help others achieve peak performance. Bobby's road to success was born out of necessity. He shares his stories of pre-hab and rehab and describes how he developed BAMmetrics, his metrics-based mobility exercise system. Bobby's proven system is used by professional athletes and weekend warriors to increase mobility. Better mobility unlocks joints and eliminates dysfunction. Better mobility means less pain, fewer injuries, and better performance. We talk about a lot of things in this on this topic. Some of the highlights are: what is mobility? Why is working on mobility essential in an exercise routine? And can we improve our mobility at any age? This is a show for everyone. It's from toddlers to those in the twilight years, as mentioned. It's something that we all need to work on so that we can keep moving for the rest of our lives. Everybody will be back in a few minutes to talk to Bobby.
Another heartbreak day. Feels like you're miles away. Don't even need no shade when your sun don't shine. Too many passing dreams roll by like limousines. It's hard to keep believing when it pass you by and by. I know your heart been broke again. I know your prayers ain't been answered yet. I know you're feeling like you got nothing left. Well, lift your head. It ain't over yet, ain't over yet. So keep walking, soldier, keep moving on. Keep walking until the morning comes. Keep walking, soldier, keep moving on and lift your head. It ain't over yet, ain't over yet. Echoing inside your head are the words that your sweet mama said. Shoot for the moon, my dear. So you took game out of this atmosphere between high stakes and pump fakes. You're feeling like you can't vibrate. I can hold your hand, but I can't turn your eyes to freedom. finished yet. Hold on, he'll get you through this. Hold on, these are the promises I never will forget. I never will forget. So hold on, the Lord ain't finished yet. Hold on, he'll get you through this. Hold on, these are the promises I never will forget. I never will forget. I know your heart been broke again. I know your prayers ain't been answered yet. But it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. So get up and move. Keep walking. Soldier, keep moving. Keep walking until the morning. You got to move. Keep walking. Soldier, keep moving on and lift your head. It ain't over yet. Lift up your head now. Keep walking. Soldier, keep moving. Lift up your head now. Keep walking until the morning. Keep believing. Keep walking. Soldier, keep moving on and lift your head. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. Keep walking. Keep walking. Soldier, keep moving on.
You are listening to Radio Maria Canada. We now continue with the program, The Health Hub, hosted by Kathy Biasi.
Welcome back, everybody. As mentioned, our show has been recorded. No opportunity for calling in, or actually it will be recorded. We're in the process of doing it right now. Please do follow us on our social sites. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and we are at the Health Hub RMC on all those locations. Bobby, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
So let's start off with your background. How did you get into this space here?
Well, I started out, I went to University of San Francisco, got a degree in kinesiology. And then when I got out, I started getting certifications. And basically in the first year, I got the CS, which is the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist certification. And I thought I knew everything right there. I was like ready to go, started training. And over 30 years and 13 different certifications, it's like there's so much information that I know now I'm not the smartest guy in the room. So I literally started learning about the body and all the things you could do with it, from yoga to Pilates to Feldenkrais to National Academy of Sports Medicine, functional movement screening, all the different things that you do for fitness. And over that time, I started trying to help my clients that they couldn't do this stuff when I wasn't around them. They wouldn't do it properly. They'd be a little lost. And that's kind of how I started to get into what I do now with the BAMmetrics. Is I have these tools that help people move better at home. COVID's been awesome because everybody, couldn't get to the gym, and they're like, what do I do? And I said, you just need your 3 tools. You've got your mat, your blocks, your bands, you're ready to go. I started teaching this like about 5-10 years ago, where I started coming up with the different tools that I had. But it all started in college, getting a degree in kinesiology, getting out and learning day after day after day how the body moves.
Well, I think you are a smart person, because I think the first sign of intelligence is knowing you don't know everything and then surrounding yourself with all the people that do. So good for you. Now, who are your clients?
I have a wide range of clients. I have from pro athletes to the beginner. I literally had a 10-year-old boy over here yesterday going through the movements, learning how to move his body. Simple things, jumping rope, push-ups on a medicine ball, bands on the mat that we do some different movements. But I have a wide range of clientele. And that's what started this. Is I was traveling with my pros, and my clients, when I get home, are like, didn't know the routine. They'd say like, well, what do I do? What do I do? I said, we've been doing this for like 3 years. But when I'm with them, they don't really pay attention to what we're doing, where they place their feet. When I say, turn your feet in just a little bit, do this, do that, I'm explaining to them what to do. They take it for granted. So when they do it, they open their feet, like when we do one of our exercises, the wall windmill. Keep your fingers open on the wall. They'll literally just forget and just move their arms on the wall. So what I teach is biomechanics, specifically how you move, functional movement. So again, it depends on the client based on pain. I'll get calls from, random people that are traveling around on tour. Their caddy says, hey, Bob, my guy hurt his back today. What should I do? And I'll send them a routine on this thing that I use, this app that I use. So the clientele is a wide range. But my thing nowadays is more of I like to coach. So when I see people, I'll usually see them for 2 hours and I'll give them a routine. And then I can check in with them once a week for half an hour and help them. If they need more time, now that we have Zoom, it's fantastic. I mean, I literally can jump on for 15 minutes and go through 3 exercises just to make sure they're doing it right and then jump off. So, that's what's been really great about COVID for us is using Zoom. I never would have thought we train on a camera, right?
Well,
it was more of...
I understand that too, because, for us who go to gyms, our gym was shut down here. It just opened a few months ago. They transitioned all of their workouts onto like a Zoom platform. It wasn't necessarily Zoom, but a platform. And it was excellent because it wasn't just recorded videos. It was actually the class sizes were still small. They were limited and the coaches could see us. They could see our positioning and correct us. And I thought it was a fantastic way to, if you can't get out to the gym or you don't feel like getting out to the gym, they had a whole bunch of classes that you could pick and choose from. So I totally understand why you think that it's evolved into such a great platform for you. It certainly increases your accessibility. And, you have your app and your online stuff. So that's a positive, I'm assuming, for you.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'd really like to help is the health industry, just people in general who want to just feel better. It's not about fitness. It's literally like brushing your teeth. The exercises I teach you have to move in all planes of motion, and then you have to strengthen those positions so they maintain. And if you have bad posture and you're rounded forward, like we're all on our phones, right? We're sitting there and we're on our phones and we're rounded. What's going to happen to your neck and shoulders? Then what happens to your back? So for me, I want to have like a big health company with my tools. They could give these to the patients and do these exercises with 1,000 people on there, 2,000, 10,000. And we're going, today we're going to teach you the wall windmill. Tomorrow I'll show you the runner stretch. The third day we're going to do push-ups. I'm going to explain how to start from basic beginners to the most advanced pro athlete. And it's like we could teach 15 minutes a day or 3 times a week for 20 minutes. We could come up with these different routines, but all these hip, knee, back pain that people have, 80% of people out there have back pain. And it could be across the board fixed, helped. I mean, literally, I'm like the one-hit wonder. People call me up and go, Bob, my back hurts. And I go, well, what's bugging you? Da, da, da. I look at them, I tell them to walk, I look at their posture, and then I give them a few exercises and boom, the back pain's gone. Or shoulder pain. And it's like, you can do this. The body knows how to move. You just have to take it down that line. And like I always say, motion is lotion. And if you're not doing it consistently daily and you're sitting or driving or you're hunched over, you're never opening up your body where it should be. You're going to have pain. It just is what it is. Or you won't have pain until you put demand on your body where you're like, hey, we're all going to go running today. And they come home and they're like, oh my God, my knee is killing me. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So that sort of stuff.
So I think it needs to be stated. Now, when you're working with people, are you working in tandem with other practitioners? Does somebody need another practitioner that's a hands-on manipulation type of thing, or can it be solely working with you?
Well, I mean, it depends on the situation. So that's, again, back in the day, I would have said, just me, I'll fix you. But it's like, it depends on what's going on with that person. Do they need that extra manipulation? What I teach you to do is to be your own chiropractor. The muscles pull on the bones. So the chiropractor adjusts the bones, right? And then the muscles pull it back out. So now your chiropractors are starting to do soft tissue work using the guns, using the foam rollers, using things where they get in there and massage and work on the muscles so it'll hold that adjustment that they made, right? So it just depends on, but I'm going to make you, by doing the exercises I teach you, I have like 7 exercises that are the absolute basics that you need to learn to do. And if you do those 7 for the rest of your life, you're at least moving in all planes of motion, you're strengthening, and you're going to feel better. That's not a question. But it's like you can add layers to that. So you don't stop what you're doing. You can still go to the gym, work out with your other trainer, do all the things that you're doing. But these basic things is I do continuing education for trainers, chiropractors, physical therapists. So for example, I had 37 physical therapists in a room one day, And I said, hey, how many of you guys know the staggered stance mini band walk? And of course they all do. So I said, let's get 3 therapists out here. So 3 come on out. And I go, here's a yellow band, a blue band, and a green band. Go ahead and start doing the staggered stance mini band walk. So they start doing it. Then I said to the other therapist, what would you change about their movement? And as they were doing it, some of the people were saying like, hey, put your feet wider. Hey, put your feet here. Hey, and they were adjusting all 3 therapists, right? So what is the patient going to do when they go home to do the exercise? If therapists are telling therapists how to adjust, what's going to go on with the movement at home? So, for example, I took my mats, I flipped them over, and I said, hey, you stand in that 1 box, you go 2 box, and you go 3 box. And the girl I told to do 3 box, it was too wide for her. So the other 2, they were doing it perfectly. They didn't say anything, but they're all, hey, she's got to move her feet in 1 box. And by doing that, she started doing it properly, but they were already speaking the language. Mm-hmm. So for example, what I was saying before is we could have a bunch of people on there and you're watching their movement and you're just like, hey, Janice, move in 1 box, keep going. You're doing great. Or when do you move up a band or change the band? You'll be able to tell yourself that, hey, I can handle 2 boxes now. It's been 2 months. I'm getting stronger. And 2 months later, hey, I'm at 3 boxes. I'm doing better. And then 2 months later, you change the band to the heavier band and start at 1 box again. So I really want people to get the language and make it simple for people to do this stuff at home, because it is simple. It's like, it's not as complex as people think it is.
Now, do they need to work with you live first so that you're doing the adjustments and then they take off on their own and watch some videos or something like that? Is that how it's working?
Yeah, both ways I can do it, but I can do it by Zoom. I mean, now that I have my tools, it's literally like I have these blocks that are 6 inches by 10 inches by 12 inches. So for example, I just tell you, put them on the 6-inch side, lay down, put them on the mat so they match the line, and boom, they're totally set up. So the tools help with when I do an exercise, I tell them, put your feet 40 inches apart. And they're like, oh, that's too wide. Then bring them into 35. And then all of a sudden they're set up, they got their number. And then I teach them, you're going to do 35, then you're going to do 36, then you're going to do 37, then you're done, right? And they have the metrics to what I'm teaching them. So they're doing it exactly how I teach them the first time.
And what do you mean by metrics? The paradigm?
On my mat, there's actually numbers. So I have like 1 through 72 in the middle. I have boxes where I have 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 18. So I can literally tell people, put your left foot in 1, put your right foot in 4.
Got it.
So on camera. So it's like, it's, I had one guy, one of the golf pros, when I gave a seminar at their country club, I had 3 golf pros there and 30 people that were members. And I was going through all this with them. And the one guy stands up and goes, guys, this is like fitness for dummies. Like, put your foot here, put your foot here. It's that simple. So it's like, if you did 1 session with me and I showed you the stuff that you need to do, you'd literally become the professional then. You're going to be doing this stuff properly. So if you're doing it properly, you're going to get a better result. And that's the problem with a lot of fitness is sometimes when I talk to trainers, for example, and I say, hey, you guys should use this mat, it's going to help you. They take it personally, like I'm telling them they're not doing their job right. I'm like, no, it's not about you. It's about your client actually doesn't understand. Like when they do a 90-90 and they switch feet, they put 1 foot further in front than the other. When you have the mat, they put their front foot at 40, they switch, they put their front foot at 40. It's exactly where we want them to be. So it's not a personal thing that you're doing it wrong. I had the same thing with physical therapists, like buying into it, is they take it personally, like I'm telling them they're not doing their job right. So
it's making it easier for them. Now,
it is.
Are we skipping this whole area when we're jumping into sports? So I see where people who haven't exercised, I can see definitely the opportunity to be working on mobility and so forth. But do you believe that this is an area of fitness that has not been focused on? I remember a ball player we had on our team, on the Jays team, and he was so in shape and so fit and injured all the time. And it was like he was strung way too tightly. And is this seeping in now into fitness on all levels?
Well, this is the key to, I think, life is mobility. Improve your mobility, which will improve your performance and reduce your pain. It's that simple. So if you do things where you're improving your mobility. That doesn't mean flexibility. So that doesn't mean take a yoga class, right? Yoga does movements, right? But they're not hitting certain things for a reason. Like they never do a wall windmill where I'm opening up my arms, hands, shoulders, back, all this on the wall. Take, for example, I worked with 7 professional baseball players right before COVID in San Diego with Todd Durkin. He's one of the top trainers out there, works with the NFL, Major League Baseball. So I trained his staff of 17 trainers, and he asked me to come back the next day to help him with his pitchers. And so basically I had all these guys and we're doing these exercises, and I showed them 4 exercises that they've never done before. These are professional athletes. They had never done a wall windmill, a push-up on a medicine ball that we do a certain way. They've done push-ups on medicine ball, but not the way I taught them. We did a Pavlov walkout, and we did one other exercise, spread feet wide and rotate. And I showed them how to do these things. And it was like they had never done these. So you got guys that have trained for 15 years, all the different trainers they've been around, the Yankees trainers, go through the list of stuff. It's like people don't know what they don't know. And mobility is the key to movement and health. So this is for an elderly person or a pro athlete. If they're not doing these movements, they're going to have rotation in their hips. They're going to have rotation throughout the body in different places. And this is why your guy who's super athletic looking and athletic would have these issues, because one side is short, one side is long, one side is tight, one side is weak. They're fighting each other. That's what causes the pain. If it's equal as we can get, it'll never be perfect, because you got a right-handed baseball player that swings right-handed all the time. That's why we have them swing left-handed more often, to get them to get both sides and kind of even it out. But yes, it's a big deal that a lot of people are missing the mobility. So you'll have women are more mobile than men, but need more strength, because they might take yoga class all the time, right? So they move well. They're very long in length, but they don't have the strength to hold that position and hold things where that's a lot of people that take yoga hurt themselves. So they go beyond the range. They go beyond and there's a certain thing for strength I call the 90-90, which means your knees, your ankles, your hips. 90-90 is power. That's where you want to have the strength. And if you can go beyond that 90 too far, you can pull a muscle. And that's what happens with people like pulling their hamstring or, hurting their low back or things that go on like that.
Well, you know what? Mobility is not the sexy part of exercising. So you have an athlete who wants to get strong, to look good, to, perform. And mobility just seems to be that slow piece that, it's the accomplishment, the look, whatever, doesn't seem to be there for them. So this is a new speak for, I guess, a lot of athletes.
The thing is, I have them mix it into what they're doing. It's like their rest time. So in between different events that they're doing that day, I have them picking and choosing different exercises. As long as we're mixing these in throughout the week, you're brushing your teeth. If you don't brush your teeth and you brush your teeth once a week or once every 2 weeks, how would your mouth be? It's literally how your body is. So I need you to mix these in daily. And I tell a lot of my clients that are busy, that are not fitness people, this is why I want to do the health thing. You can be at your desk and do a runner stretch. Then you get on another call. Then like today, I'm sitting on a stability ball here. I can take a break after a call and lay back on the ball and just open up my chest and shoulders on the ball. So we're mixing this stuff into our daily lives where it's not a job. You drive your car for 2 hours, you get out, put your hands on top of the car, push your butt back and just let your head hang and open up your neck and shoulders and spend 30 seconds there. You're doing the motion throughout the day. And that's what's going to help most people fit it into their lifestyle, because it's hard for people to say, I'm going to take a half an hour, to do this exercise, but you can literally do it right at your desk. So for everybody listening today, it's like, get up and do a windmill. You got a wall there, do your windmill, do the runner stretch, put your feet in front of each other, do a runner stretch and stretch out the bottom of your feet all the way up to your neck. Because nowadays, we didn't know this, 20 years ago, fascia is what wraps the muscle. And fascia, we used to stand on this stair for 3 minutes and stretch our calves going up. And we didn't know this, but it stretched all the way up to the back of our neck. That's why we'd stay there for 3 minutes. Pete Egoscu is one of the guys out there I learned from, 15, 20 years ago, that the body opens up when you do these exercises. And we're like, how's stretching my calves helping my neck, right? But it's the fascia. It's like literally pulling it apart as you stand there and stay there longer. So as you learn these different exercises by doing the soft tissue work, lengthening, and then strengthening, those are the three things to get mobility. So soft tissue with a foam roller or a gun, those hypervolts, or a small ball, then lengthen, right, by the mobility, and then strengthen it with a band or whatever you're going to do that you're going to use to strengthen it. But a lot of people just go to the gym and strengthen. And if you're strengthening dysfunction, that's what causes the pain eventually. That's what people don't understand. So that's why 8 out of 10 people have back pain. They just don't know this. That's why CrossFit, literally, Kelly Starrett, one of the top, mobility specialists out there, if he wasn't around, CrossFit would have hurt so many people. It would have been insane, because you were taking average people and throwing them into doing Olympic lifting, pulling, all these athletic things, gymnastics. It's like they were not ready for this. And they were physical. All my friends that were physical therapists are like, oh my God, our business went up 40% because of CrossFit. That's how many people
I did one CrossFit class, and I've been exercising all my life. I did one CrossFit class. I couldn't walk for 3 days. You don't want to lose the competition. Everyone's there. You want to be able to. So I totally get
understand.
That. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. I really want to dive into a bit more of the motility issue, because their mobility and motility, because I don't think we've talked about that enough. So everyone, we'll be right back. Stick with us. I think you're going to find the next part of the show quite interesting.
I'm not about to give up, because I heard you say there's gonna be brighter days. There's gonna be brighter days. I won't stop, I'll keep my head up. No, I'm not here to stay. There's gonna be brighter days. There's gonna be brighter days. I just might bend, but I won't break. As long as I can see your face. When I won't play along and right keeps going wrong, and I can't seem to find my way. I know where I am found, so I won't let it drag me down. No, I'll keep dancing anyway. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move. I've got to hold it steady, keep my head in the game. Everything is about to change. Everything is about to change. This hurt is getting heavy, but I'm not about to cave. Everything is about to change. There's gonna be brighter days. I just might bend, but I won't break. As long as I can see your face. When life won't play along and right keeps going wrong, and I can't seem to find my way. I know where I am found, so I won't let it drag me down. No, I'll keep dancing anyway. I'm gonna move. No matter what may come, gotta move to a different zone. I'm gonna move. No matter what may bring, gotta move to a different breeze. No matter what may come, gotta move to a different zone. No matter what may bring, gotta move to a different breeze. I just might bend, but I won't break. As long as I can see your face. When life won't play along and right keeps going wrong, and I can't seem to find my way. I know where I am found, so I won't let it drag me down. No, I'll keep dancing anyway. When life won't play along and right keeps going wrong, and I can't seem to find my way. I know where I am found, so I won't let it drag me down. No, I'll keep dancing anyway. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move.
You are listening to The Health Hub here on Radio Maria Canada, a Catholic voice wherever you are. To contact us and be a part of the show, email thh@radiomaria.ca. We now continue with the program. Here once again is your host, Kathy Biasi.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking to Bobby Aldridge here. And at the end of the segment, I crossed over motility and mobility. They have M's that are similar, but other than that, they're two different words, right, Bobby?
Yes, they are.
So I think we skirted over mobility. We talked a touch about flexibility. I think we're all pretty familiar with weight training. But what exactly is mobility? And do we lose it as we get older if we don't use it?
Yes, we do. So one of the things that's why I've said mobility is the key to health is you want to move well and then move often. A lot of people move often, but they don't move well. So the difference between flexibility and mobility is flexibility is the muscle length. What can it do? Like trying to touch your toes. For example, I can get you in 1 minute to touch your toes, get closer to your toes by teaching you how to hip hinge. And it had nothing to do with how your hamstring length was. It had to do with how your hips hinge. So the mobility part is the hips hinging and moving properly, where the flexibility of the hamstring, people will say, oh, I can't touch my toes and it's because my hamstrings are tight. So that's the difference of the flexibility to mobility. One of the things that I've learned over all these years is I love the guys that are getting older in pro sports because they're not as cocky and they're not as athletic and they're trying to get back into what they're doing. They're like, what can I do to get back to, just survive my last couple of years? I'm 38 now and I'm going to get released. And those are the guys that'll come and start listening to, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do this. This is for your mobility. And they're listening, they're doing, and all of a sudden, I literally had a ex-pro football player. He's retired now. I mean, he's 65. I met him at my clinic at Hualalai in Hawaii at the Four Seasons. And I was teaching this clinic over there to all the members. And he was all kind of a football player, right? So he's real buff and he's big still. He lifts weights. He's always lifting weights. I had him do a wall windmill. And I had 4 people standing there watching him do it. And after about 2 minutes, everybody's like, oh my God, he's literally getting longer and taller right now. And I said, yeah, because his body knows this exercise. His body knows how to move. And now he's just waking it up. So he went from this older man that's kind of buff and hunched over to being taller and open. So I just wish I could get people started earlier. Dr. Greg Rose that works with the Titleist Performance Institute in San Diego, works with all the pro golfers that are out there. He said it'd be so nice if you would start earlier because you wouldn't have these injuries later. So if we could get kids doing these things like in PE and learning this stuff, we would change. Like I said, the health industry would change. All these injuries that go on could be, stopped unless run into a wall.
We're talking about inflammation here. When you lack mobility, when your joints aren't moving properly, that can lead to inflammation. And we all know that inflammation is not something that we want in the body. You said something about your football player and hip hinging. So the thing that popped into my mind, is there an element of mobility in weightlifting that should be taught as part of doing a proper execution of an exercise?
Well, I use bands a lot to have mini bands, those ones you put on your ankles, your knees, your hands. I'll put them on the wrist. So bands are great for strengthening, and it's not like it makes you sore. You burn when you use them, but you take them off and you're fine. So for the average person, that's one standard thing. And across the board, pro athlete to beginners, these banded exercises that I teach, I literally help you hinge your hips by putting the bands on your toes, laying on your back, and you pull your knee up and hold. 1, 2, 3, you go back down. You pull the other foot up. So I'll have you do 3 different exercises on your back. Then I'll have bands for your knees, above your knees, below your knees. And you sit there, hands behind your back, you're sitting up. We go in and out 2 inches with our hips. Then we go down to our elbows. Then we lay down on our back. And we're using our hips in and out. So I'll strengthen your hips in all the different angles. Then I'll have you stand up and walk on my mat back and forth with the bands on the knees or the ankles or however I'm going to do it. Double band you maybe knees and ankles for somebody who's strong. And I'll work the hips that way. But by adding those simple exercises in, and again, 1 a day. So today I'm going to do it on my back. Tomorrow, I'm going to do it sitting up. Third day, I'm going to do it standing up on the mat. Then on Thursday, I'll go back to what I did on the first day, laying on my back. So I got 6 days in of just those bands. But by doing that, so many people would strengthen their hips, back, and shoulders, and the hinging of the hips would get so much better because you're doing it consistently.
And are you doing these exercises with a 10-year-old and an 80-year-old, exactly the same exercises?
Yep. These banded ones. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, my interest in mobility has come from injury. I run, I do some high intensity stuff, and people who have been listening for the last little bit, I now have plantar fasciitis because I wasn't running properly, and, doing research and stuff. That's kind of my geeky thing. That's how I kind of came across this mobility and all that stuff. And are you still in that space where people are coming to you because there's an issue?
Yeah, well, plantar fasciitis can be fixed easily. So people get that.
That's good to know.
People get that because it's not because of the way they're running. It's because of how their body is. So your ankle, knee, and hip aren't working properly together. So by doing a few simple exercises like rolling out the bottom of your feet, doing some foot circles on your back, standing on a stair, dropping your hips down, doing these simple exercises and then strengthening it with a band, all of a sudden the plantar fasciitis you used to have will go instantly away. It's not that I tell people, don't wear shoes that are, high arched or all these different things that you wear shoes. It's better to go barefoot as often as possible, and then wear your shoes maybe when you go running, you have your shoes on, but run on your toes. Don't run heel to toe. That's another thing. It's really bad for you to go heel to toe. By running on your toes, it's like a springboard, so you're not hurting your knees or your back. Things like that. Like a lot of people jog, so they're going heel to toe, and that's just, it's not good for your body. But plantar fasciitis is a simple one to fix. You could look up Pete Egoscue, Egoscue. Is his last name, Pete. He's got a bunch of books out there. He's got a brand new book out, and he'll have stuff in there for you to fix that and make it better.
I think I'm going to be a client of yours if I can fix it that easily, because we're going on 6 months now, and I can just feel everything else accommodating the fact that I'm limping on my foot. Now, sorry?
I was going to say, that's what happens. All of a sudden your feet hurt, and then all of a sudden your right hip hurts, and then all of a sudden your left shoulder hurts. And it's because of all the compensation going on for the one place that's injured. So,
and for me, it started with the hip. I got the hip fixed. And honestly, I thought, okay, finally I'm back on track. And within 3 months, my foot went. And, people who have not had foot pain, it's not just like a pain in the butt. It affects everything. You're moving, and foot pain is just, it's not something fun. So, the mobility issue, and I totally understand. And we've had guests on talking about the fascia and how it's just what it comes down to. And what you've kind of brought forward is everything is connected. And we have to pay attention to everything. And especially, I really see an area where I see a lot of athletes and big, bulky guys, and then the injuries pop up. And so I can see a space exactly where you're working with these athletes, and to try and teach them, there's a whole component that may be missing that we need to pay attention to. But I also think the other benefit for the majority of us who aren't muscle-bound athletes is that mobility will decrease as we get older. And it's important to, mobility seems to decrease as we get old. And it's important to pay attention to it now.
Yeah, well, your strength too, that's a part of it. So when you go to the hospital now, they actually test your grip strength, because that's going to tell them how strong your body is. If you have a really weak grip strength, you're not very strong. It means you're weak and sick, right? So take, for example, my pro golfers. They have a 60 grip. Okay, so when I say hold the club half like lighter, they can hold it at 30, and that's half. Your average amateur golfer holds a club at 30. That's full out grip as hard as they can. So when I tell them to hold it half, it's 15. So it's a huge difference. And I can get your grip stronger just by doing some farmer carries or suitcase carries. That means you hold weights in each hand and walk for 1 to 2 minutes, right? And you do this, a couple times a week, and it's going to build your grip strength, but it's also going to build your core, your shoulders, your muscles. So how easy is that to just go to the gym, walk on the treadmill, and then get off and go grab some weights and walk around for 1 minute, put it down, walk around for 1 minute, put it down, 1 more minute, and then leave. You did your cardio, you did some walking with the weights, you got stronger, and then you left. And then tomorrow you do the bands and the windmill and the runner stretch. And it's like, if you guys would learn how to mix this stuff in a little bit at a time, your mobility would get better, your strength would get better, your performance, which is grandma being able to just cook in the kitchen and not have pain, or play with the grandkids or whatever, your performance would get better, and then you'd be able to play pain-free for whatever you like to do.
Have we lost mobility because we don't move enough? Like, is this something that, 40 years ago, mobility wasn't an issue? Or is this because we are we don't move too much? We sit down a lot. Is this part of the reason mobility is popped into the space of physical fitness now?
Well, yeah, we move much less than we used to. And as you get older, you're not out dancing at 2 a.m. You're not moving the way you used to. You're sitting on the couch more. You're watching more TV. You're driving. You're not doing these exercises that daily you should be doing to open up your body. So yeah, we move less, and we have things like computers. So we're sitting there looking at a computer hunched over. We're looking at our phones. That's why there's so many neck and shoulder injuries right now going on, even with kids. I mean, you got kids nowadays that have the neck punched forward and are having these issues, and it starts early. I mean, they're on their phones hours a day.
Yeah,
so, you need, I think in PE, they need to start mixing this stuff in, or these kids are just going to be a nightmare. When they're 25 years old, they're going to be like they're 50.
Well, if you Google mobility and you sort of Google mobility and aging and go down that pathway, it often talks about the fluid. The fluid's not circulating enough within the joints and so forth. Now, is that something that's a part of aging, or is that completely something that should be with us all of our lives if we're doing the right thing?
Well, you can keep your mobility for forever if you're doing it. That's the thing. And you can maintain your strength really, really well. I mean, Jack LaLanne did it he was 90 years old. I saw him in the city at a conference. We had 3,000 people in a room, and he was speaking up there. He was moving like a kid, back and forth on stage, touching his toes and I mean, he had so much energy. And he's not special. That's what people think is, oh, you have great genetics. Oh, you're lucky. You need to start this stuff early. The ability to move is for everyone. It's free, it's easy, and you can do this. So the exercises that I teach you will help you retain your mobility or improve it so your joints don't get damaged. And if you're doing things that are moving improperly, or you have a dysfunction and then you start moving a lot, like you said, you got plantar fasciitis, that just tells me you're off. And I know something's off based because you have pain. You will not have pain if things are equal or almost equal. So you have to do the windmill and pull that rotation out of your body. You have to do the runner stretch so it pulls that from the bottom of your foot through your calf, through your hamstring, into the low back, up into your thoracic spine, and get that to open up, because it releases the tension on the foot. It's not just do foot exercises to make it better. It's going to make a difference when I get into your calf, your hamstring, your low back. It'll open all that up. So
we need to change the focus, I guess, or bring more into focus. Because even with when I'm at the gym and I do classes, the flexibility part is 3 minutes at the end of a 1 hour class, right?
Right.
And it makes a lot of sense. Is it ever too late to start with mobility?
No. You can start today, and in a week, you're going to be feeling better. It's going to be different because your body knows this stuff. It's in the DNA for us to move. Unless you had a car accident and you have pins in your leg or something like drastically changed because of an injury, then you will get results quickly. Within 6 weeks, I mean, people are feeling so much better if you're doing the right stuff. It'd be like brushing your teeth without the brush and turning the brush around and brushing your teeth and going, God, my gums hurt. Like, you're doing it wrong. do it right, feel great, and go do what you love to do. That's my motto now. Improve your mobility, improve your performance, and play pain-free, whatever that is for playing that you like to do.
And it's becoming more and more spoken about. It really is. I think, as with everything, nutrition and so forth, there are phases, right? We saw the big, bulky athletes. We saw the unhealthier athletes. Now we see the big, bulky athletes. And now I think we're starting to really see a combination of both. And it's evidenced by the fact that professional athletes are lasting longer in their sports. I think this is one truism that you're bringing to people. You look at pro athletes, you look at athletes who are playing into their 40s. They, years ago, a career was over, by the age of 35. It was long in a professional sport. If people wanted to find out more about you and what you do, because I think this is going to be a very interesting topic for a lot of people, where can they find you?
Go to BAMmetrics.com. METRICS. And then that way you can see my bio, you can see the different tools that I sell. And these tools are going to be around forever unless somebody comes up with a better way to do it. But it's like, it teaches you the movements. You'll actually learn this stuff. If you order the tools, I'm going to send you these videos of what to do. And you could just follow those videos. It'll explain the mat, the blocks, the bands, these different movements. And call me. We can get on a call. I mean, I talk to people all the time around the world, and I love helping people get started and just, keep it simple. Add this to what you do already. This stuff will make it easier.
Can people work with you without buying the tools?
Yeah, I mean, they can, but I teach with the tools. That's literally what I've been doing. I made this so they could use the tools and not need me, because
so there's specialty bands and specialty blocks and specialty mats.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mat and blocks are special. The bands are mini bands. So if you have mini bands, you don't need the mini bands. Those are just extra bands that you can get anywhere. But the blocks, they're special. The mat is definitely special.
And you work with people outside of the US?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Because we're in Canada, so we'll have Canadian people that are interested. Wonderful.
I've had a bunch of people order from Canada over the years. Yeah.
Well, I will be ordering, and I will be jumping on the mobility bandwagon, because as I do, it's funny. We sit around the kitchen table. My husband's back is sore. My kids all work out. My daughter's 30 and her back is sore, and she's been rowing, and it's like, I don't know, is exercise supposed to feel this way? So obviously it's a component that's missing. So I can't wait to get started. I really can't wait to get started.
Awesome.
It's been a real pleasure, enlightening. I love it when I get excited about my guests and what they're doing and feel how it's so applicable to my life, because then I know it's applicable to everyone who's listening. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Everybody, we'll talk to you next week on The Health Hub.
You have been listening to The Health Hub, hosted by Kathy Biasi, here on Radio Maria Canada.